Good evening, Roadrunners, and welcome to the April Roost Ed Talk. We're excited that you had joined us this evening. We've got a very important topic of conversation to discuss tonight, and that is college and career readiness. And we're excited to be able to communicate some things such as scholarships, as well as the CTE courses that we offer here at the Holbrook High School, and our dual enrollment classes, as well as the new presentation by Horace Mann Representative J.D. Parker, who is going to talk about college savings. So we appreciate you joining us. Sorry for the short delay, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to try to get this in within an hour. And we're also trying something new based off of what we experienced last time. So you will be seeing the screen. You will be hearing the voices of the people that are presenting this evening. So we're going to flip back and forth. We're also going to be taking your questions throughout the evening. So with that said, as I mentioned, we are talking about college and career readiness. We're going to start with our college savings plans. Representative from Horace Mann, J.D. Parker, will be talking about 529 plans. We're also going to follow up with coursework at Holbrook High School. That is, students can actually graduate from Holbrook High School with 40-plus college hours. And parents and students, you need to listen closely, because that's about a $15,000 to $25,000 savings for you as a family that you can accomplish right here at Holbrook High School. So listen closely to how you can get enrolled in those classes. And Dr. Hausman is going to lead us through the career and technical education courses that we offer not only on-site, which is called our satellite, but also central classes where you can actually travel to different communities and attain different certifications through those programs. And then our scholarships session as well. We also have question and answer. Please submit your questions. I believe it's via YouTube. So I believe you have the opportunity to submit questions. Mr. Gardner will be directing those questions to me. I will address it with the panel. So let me introduce our panel this evening. I want to start with our high school principal, Dr. Jerry McKinnon. Is the camera on her? Our CTE director, Dr. Charles Hausman. Our high school senior counselor, Nicole Warner. And our guest this evening from Horace Mann, once again, J.D. Parker. With that, I will turn it over to Mr. Parker, and he is going to talk about and discuss the 529 plans that are available, as well as some college information that I believe that all parents need to know about, not only when they're in high school, but more importantly, really starting in kindergarten and the opportunity to start preparing for college at an early age. So I'm going to turn it over to JD.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Corporich. Really appreciate your time and inviting us to be a part of this great Ed Talk. Good evening, Roadrunners. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about our college savings plan. So 529, that is a section in an IRS code to define the rules around college savings. Now, it's hard for a lot of us to quite comprehend this, but your college expense is going to be one of your most expensive purchases that you will make in your life. Usually, the only one that's going to be larger than that will be your primary residence. For example, the average one-year cost of tuition and fees, room and board at a four-year public college in the United States was $20,598. If that were to be multiplied out over a four-year education, that would be the equivalent of $82,392. That's not everything. That doesn't include books, transportation to and from school, other incidental costs, and inflation. And so it is so important. The earlier we start with college education, the better off that we're going to be. So starting a savings program, once we know and have an idea of how much that cost is going to be, really it's just a matter of math and affordability. What is it that we have that we can set aside towards our future education? Now, there are some tax advantages and some approaches that we can take. One of those being a 529 prepaid tuition plan. We'll talk about that. Another one being the 529 education savings. That's going to be the majority of our focus. There's also a Coverdell savings account, Roth IRAs, cash value life insurance all have important tax advantages when it goes to qualifying for your college education. Now, if there's a personal shortage, obviously savings will not be enough if you don't have it quite there. Then the family can apply for financial aid to begin that search for a scholarship. All right. So to illustrate the point, I just mentioned it earlier. Let's look at the difference in college costs and how much it has changed. We'll stick with a public four-year school. Tuition and fees in 1990 was $1,780. In 2019, the most recent figures that we have, that is $9,212. That is inflation, is what's taking place there for the large majority of it. Tuition and fees doesn't cover your room and board. In 1990, that was $3,195. And now in 2019, we're looking at $11,386. Once again, operating off of averages, that's not going to be everybody's circumstance. You may be able to get lucky. But totaling it out, in 1990, it was $4,975 for for per year, a public four-year school, and now that is $20,598. Said that once before, but we'll say it again. And we have this graph down here at the bottom to be able to illustrate that. I'm not even going to bring in, if you're looking at private four-year schools and what that might look like, that is an extreme cost. And I hope that you have a great education plan to be able to get for that private school. So here's how the 529 plan works. It is a tax-advantaged account to save for education. Earnings are accumulated, and by earnings we mean the interest that the account grows by on a tax-deferred basis, meaning that the interest that is growing, you are not paying taxes on that year after year. It is going tax-deferred. Now, it does not guarantee that you're going to get admission into any college. That is going to be on the student and their personal goals and achievements in order to make that happen. Now, one of the great things is that it's not just one person that can use this 529 plan. If there are other members in your family and you don't use up all of the benefit that's there, it can then be donated and given onto the next person in your family. So we don't have to set up three separate savings plans. We can use one for the family and fund it accordingly and then go on to the next child. That's the way that works. Now here's the whole purpose and the reason why we set them up. If you use your 529 college education savings plan for your higher expenses, what we call qualified expenses, those are a tax-free distribution. So not only are you able to get the contributions that you have put into the account, but your interest will grow tax-free. What we mean by those qualified expenses, generally included, that's tuition, books, fees, room and board, equipment, supplies, all of those. Now, if you decide that you're not going to use those for higher education, these 529 plans are not going to be favorable for you. If you are not focused on your college and your education, you go to access this money, you will pay ordinary income tax, plus there will be an early taxable penalty of 10% that's going to be applied. Now, I mentioned previously, there's also the 529 prepaid tuition plan. What this means is you pick a school and you contact that school and say, I plan to attend your college in the year, let's say 2025. And 2025 rolls around, they say, okay, tuition, we're going to agree that it's going to cost you X amount of dollars. If you prepay that tuition, your tuition is going to be considered paid. There are positives and negatives to being able to do that. One, first and most important, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to have admission at that school. So you're going to want to make sure that it's going to be a school that you're going to be able to get into and the school that you want to have. The other thing in working with these prepaid tuition plans, one of the positives that I will mention, is that it can allow for you to be able to plan on and or compete against inflation. What I mean by that are generally these prepaid tuition plans are less expensive than if you were to just wait to see what the cost of that college education was going to be up front through, say, the 529 college education savings plan. When we go in to the prepaid tuition plans, your tuition fees also pays for room and board, and then some other remaining costs may be allowed to you. So it's not quite as liberal as you would say with the 529 plan. It puts you into a little bit tighter box, and you want to be careful when you're making these decisions into these prepaid tuition plans. Now, there are a lot of variables when it comes to your own personal your own personal college savings plan, and I can't tell you the one-size-fits-all answer. And so what we have offered up, we'll provide you with our contact information. If you have any questions in regards to your own personal 529 plan and what's going to be best for you, we'd be happy to help out. Our contact information is listed here.
Thank you, JD. Very good information, and you know, having two college graduates and one that's in college right now as a freshman, this stuff is real. It's very real, and I didn't know about a 529 plan, even although I've been in education 29 years until my kids were juniors and seniors. My first two children were juniors and seniors, and then it's almost too late at that point. So we don't have any questions, but if the questions do want to come in for Mr. Parker, we can definitely ask your specific question. But I'll ask this: when should you start this plan? When should you start putting away for college? If you're a parent sitting out there with an elementary student, or potentially even just expecting children down the road, when's a good time to start this process?
Hey, great question, and thank you. I appreciate that. The best time to start is now. As early as possible is always best. You know, they say that interest is the eighth wonder of the world if it's working for you. And I would have to tend to agree with that. Interest and time will make up for more of your college education expenses than your contributions. So if you have it planned out to where you're starting early and have intention to be attending college, the earlier you start, the better off you're going to be.
Very good. So another question that I have is, so if our Roadrunners are always very academically inclined and they're on the pathway to getting good scholarships and maybe even getting their tuition paid for at a state university. So you had mentioned that, but the one thing that as a parent, and I'm sure Dr. Hausman can attest to this as well, because he's got a daughter that's in college right now as well, that the housing cost, we don't think about the housing cost and what that looks like. So if you're in the dorm and you're doing a dorm meal plan, you're in 10 grand for that year. 5,000 for the dorm, and probably another, depending on what meal plan that you choose, 2,500 to 5,000 for the meal plan as well. That's in addition to your tuition. And so this would apply to something of that nature as well, that you could use those 529 monies for that.
That is correct, yes. It is considered a qualified expense when going to cover room and board. So it's more than just books and tuition. It's room and board, it's supplies, it's a lot that it goes to cover. It's thinking of the whole college experience, making sure that monies are there and used appropriately. So,
what is generally the interest rate on a 529 plan? How much? If you invest, how much do you expect for that return on investment?
Hey, that's another really great question. When we set up 529 plans, we use something, it's called a life cycle fund, with the idea that the individual who's going to be going and attending college within that year, we want to make sure that that money's there for them. So it's going to be a little bit more aggressive, meaning we're going to see a better return, probably in that 8 to 10% range. Of course, nothing's guaranteed. It is dependent on the market. And then as we get closer to our college attendees year, then we're going to see a lot less in returns, because we want to make sure that that money is going to be there, probably in that 3 to 5% range.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Parker, for your insight. Parents, Students, this is something that you need to consider. I know Horace Mann has worked within our parent-teacher conferences. They've set up tables to have these levels of communication, and we want to be able to bring you information to start that preparation, because it's really a little bit too late when you're juniors and seniors. You really need to start thinking through this process when your children are in kindergarten, first, second, and still start working towards that end point. So when they graduate, you have a financial plan, because many times that can become the barrier to continue on with your education, is the financial aspect. And we definitely don't want our Roadrunner graduates to be in debt. We want them to be able to graduate from college and be able to get out and get a good job and be able to enjoy that income and not spend 30% of that paycheck or towards college debt. So please reach out to Mr. Parker if you are considering this, or reach out to me or any of our school administrators, and we can definitely set you up with an appointment and contact information for Mr. Parker. So thank you very much. We're now going to turn it over to Dr. McKinnon, and Dr. McKinnon's going to be talking about how can we offset these costs while you're in high school. And I'm telling you, this might be one of the proudest things that I savor in as a superintendent, that we are able to be able to offer high school dual enrollment, concurrent enrollment, TALON classes here at the high school. I've got firsthand experience of my children getting through college in 3 years versus 4 because of the things that Holbrook High School did for my children as they graduated with college credits. It's real, it can happen, and we're expanding the program here at Holbrook High School. So Dr. McKinnon?
Well, Holbrook High School offers our students, with the students that have a 2.6 unweighted GPA, the opportunity to take TALON classes through Northland Pioneer College. Students earn high school credits for graduation in addition to earning college credits. Next year, our 21-22 school year TALON classes will be History 105, which is U.S. History to 1877, Math 152, Advanced Algebra, POS 110, United States Government, History 106, which is U.S. History since 1877. So they would take that second semester after they'd had the History 105 first semester. And then we also offer Math 189, which is pre-calculus, algebra, and/or trigonometry. We have asynchronous offerings, which is something that is going to be new for next year. These classes are not live, they are asynchronous, and the classes we'll be offering are cultural anthropology, understanding art, macroeconomics, world regional geography, southwestern history, American government, intro to psychology, developmental psychology, and intro to theater. Since these classes are asynchronous, students can choose to have these added to their regular schedule. For instance, in place of an elective, we have a lot of students that become teachers' aides, and we're real excited that we'll be able to offer some of these asynchronous college classes, which will give them even more college credits. To register for the TALON classes, students are responsible for registering, but we will help facilitate the process. When students are in the TALON classes, they are responsible for communication with their NPC teachers and submitting their final grade reports to the high school so that we can get those added to their transcript. In addition to the TALON classes, we also offer dual enrollment classes, and these are taught at the high school by high school teachers. And again, students earn high school credits along with college credits. Our dual enrollment classes include English, and this is 12th grade, with Mr. Coppolo, calculus with Mr. Strong, advanced biology with Dr. Woodward, Navajo language taught by Mrs. Jackson, childhood development taught by Mrs. Carlson, construction, which will be taught by Mr. Smith, and physics, taught by Mr. Daniels. For more information, please contact the high school, and we will be able to answer any questions and help you facilitate the process. But we hope that as many of you that are qualified can take advantage of this great opportunity.
So, Dr. McKenna, let's talk a little bit. We don't have any questions yet, but so these can be counted as, how many credits does it take to graduate from Holbrook High School?
You need 22 credits to graduate from Holbrook High School.
Okay, so when you get to be a junior, can freshmen take these classes?
Typically, we don't allow our freshmen to take these classes, but now that we have these asynchronous classes, if they have a 2.6 GPA, I don't see any reason why we can't get these programs started with maybe second semester freshmen and certainly our sophomores.
So this is typically meant for juniors and seniors, but there is some legislation going through to be able to allow a broader scope. So if we, and this is part of our accelerated program in our Holbrook Unified School District. So we are gifted program, so to speak, at Holbrook High School. And so you can actually go into your junior and senior year, and this is pretty much what you take, right? Because you take English 101 and English 102, and then you can take, you have to have 4 years of English. Two of those I think it's 1 year of that can be the dual enrollment classes. And you can get your history taken care of, you can get your math taken care of, all dual enrollment. So not only are you getting your experience from a high school teacher or a college teacher from MPC, but you're also getting that nurturing environment where you're kind of split between high school and college. So it's a really good bridging opportunity, because we know that many of our students, many college students throughout America, go and they take English 101 in college, and they're sitting in a class of 200 people in a huge classroom, and the professor does not know who the person is. It becomes very difficult to get that one-on-one or that small group help. We can do that right here at Holbrook High School. So it's a great opportunity. I'm going to say, even if this obviously takes away from the tuition aspect of going to college, but more importantly, you can finish in 3 years going to NAU, ASU, U of A. These are all transferred classes because they're accredited classes at NPC. So that also cuts back on a year of housing. That cuts back on a year of food. And it also allows you to go when you're 20 years old, 21 years old, it allows you to go to the advanced degree. So if you want to go get your master's, or you want to go on and get a special certification or a special degree, it allows you to start towards that track. It's extremely important, and I want to make sure that parents and students understand the benefit of being in these programs and taking these classes at Holbrook High School. I'm going to say we have probably the most robust dual enrollment, concurrent enrollment, and TALON program in northern Arizona for sure, but potentially throughout the state. Because the alternative of this is that they take what is called AP courses. And AP, you may hear AP courses. AP courses is you take the class throughout the year, and it's very rigorous, just like the TALON class or the dual enrollment, but you, at the end, you go and you take an exam. So all that work that you've done throughout the year is only contingent upon you getting a 3 or a 4 on the or the CLEF, I think it's called the CLEF assessment. So you have to take an assessment to actually get credit. With the dual enrollment, concurrent enrollment, and TALON classes, you do not have to do that. And NPC offers a great product, and you get to do that right in your high school environment. But you still get to be a high schooler. And it's extremely important. We have the TALON classes are right here in the Roadrunner Roost. We have a little room right off the Roadrunner Roost. And it's supervised, and it's ITV, it's televised through the college professors. Great opportunity for our juniors, seniors, and hopefully even maybe down to our sophomores in the future. So, okay, anything else on TALON dual enrollment? Okay, we will move on to our career and technical education program, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Hausman.
Parents and students, Holbrook High School has a lot of offerings. We're packed with some opportunities. So please listen up because I want to talk about some additional college credit opportunities as well as skills and trades opportunities that can help our students in multiple ways. But first, we're going to roll just a brief video of some of our programs on campus.
Yeah, it's.
Okay, parents, I want to clarify something quickly. Holbrook High School, we use the word NAVIT interchangeably. We have what we call NAVIT Central Programs, and we have NAVIT Holbrook High School Satellite Programs. NAVIT is Northern Arizona Vocational Institute of Technology. NAVIT combines resources from the following school districts: Holbrook, Winslow, Snowflake, Shola, Round Valley, Alchesay, Heber, Overgard, Young, and Payson. NAVIT was legislated by the state. They're called CTEDs. There are multiple CTEDs in the state. NAVIT is ours. There's some tax advantages to making NAVIT as a central district. NAVIT Central Programs are taught by Northland Pioneer College instructors on facilities owned and leased by Northland Pioneer College. NAVIT Central students attend classes at Northland Pioneer College Mondays through Fridays, either in the mornings or afternoons. It varies depending on program and enrollment. NAVIT Central students attend Holbrook High School classes the other half of the day. NAVIT pays all Northland Pioneer College tuition, books, supplies, and in addition fees. Important things to understand that NAVIT Central program is available to our Holbrook High School students. The CNA Certified Nursing Assistant Program, it's a one semester that's for seniors because you have to be 18 or close to being 18 to get licensed by the state once you go through the program. That's worth 15 NPC credits. 2-year program, Construction Technology, 4 semesters, 48 college credits. Fire Science, 2 semesters, 32 college credits. Energy and Industrial Technology, which has some similarities to working at power plants and industrial facilities, 4 semesters, 43 college credits. Medical Assistant, 4 semesters, 40.5 college credits. Welding Technology, 4 semesters, 56 college credits. And Hairstyling, 4 semesters, 49 college credits. All paid for by NAVIT in the school districts. Keep in mind those NAVIT programs are open for our students. The enrollment process starts usually each January, closes out at the end of March, so we can submit the applications to NAVIT Central up in Snowflake and Northern Pioneer College. Parents, and I want to get a shot in here too. With COVID and the pandemic, we did not have as many applicants because frankly we did not have as many kids on campus. Even though we've had to officially close out to meet our deadline, I am still interested if there are openings through NAVIT. If a parent is listening, if a student is listening, if you are still interested in seeing if you can qualify for one of these programs, come and see me immediately or Mrs. White in the Career Center, because we want to try to get as many kids in these advantages as possible. High school, NAVIT HHS satellite programs, which are programs where there's still some supervision by NAVIT. So there's a lot of compliance to NAVIT in the state. We have on our campus automotive, business management, finance, CAD or computer-aided drafting. We have construction technology, early childhood education, or you may have seen it referred to child development. We have engineering, digital information or digital communications, film and TV, and welding. And currently, as to reiterate, we have early childhood education offering dual enrollment credits, and hopefully we'll also be adding some dual enrollment credits this next year for construction technology and possibly business management.
Okay, very good. And I think it's very important that we point out all the opportunities that we have at Holbrook High School. And Dr. Hausman has been the CTE director for many years. Can you just tell us a little bit about maybe a story about a student that went through Holbrook High School, where they went to NAVIT Central, which is off campus? We need to realize that does take some scheduling, because they're either taking classes in the morning and then off to NAVIT in the afternoon, or vice versa. Or they can take the satellite classes, which are offered right here on our campus. Can you tell us a little bit about the success of our graduates and what they've achieved?
The successes are many, and I think back to when we work with students, and we have to acknowledge that each one of our students has different strengths. I know one student in particular who has gone through the hairstyling / cosmetology program, who's now in Scottsdale at a relatively high-end salon, and she's making very good money, continuing training, and she's really establishing herself. This kid came onto our campus, she had a lot of encouragement, she stuck with the program, and she ran with it. I can think of another student several years ago who, I'll be very honest with you, who was on an IEP, who had the label of special education. That didn't stop us. We got this kid into the welding program, and he, despite the special education label, that didn't matter up at Northland Pioneer College. This kid got his welding certifications, and frankly, that following summer of graduation, he was able to get in with the Boilermakers Union, and with all the overtime, there were some weeks he was pulling thousands, $4,000 and $5,000. And that's just one example. A lot of kids are sometimes reluctant to go into a NAVIT because they think it's just for the trades. But I challenge kids and encourage our students and parents to think many of these positions can also help you work while you're in college. And that's a critical factor, and I want to bring out one more example, if it's okay, Dr. Corcoran. My own daughter is a senior at ASU, and she is striving to get into medical school, which is an arduous process. When she did the CNA program, she wasn't able to do it as a NAVIT student because of her senior schedule, but she still took NAVIT the following summer, same courses, same instructors. We had to pay out of our own pocket, but she got certified as a certified nursing assistant. She was within a few months hired by Phoenix Children's Hospital as a medical assistant, where she's still working. While she's gone to ASU, on the low end, some nights she'll only pull $15 an hour. But there are many nights they call in because they're short-staffed, and she makes $35 an hour. And you want to talk about college costs and college tuition, medical school applications. These examples, I can give a couple more examples of kids who have taken NAVIT programs or satellite programs here, and because of what they learn here, they've been able to bump their scores up on the ASVAB scores and gotten some pretty neat positions within the military. And keep in mind when we talk about scholarships in the future, there is also a GI Bill. So when kids do a stint in the military, that's worth a lot of money too. But you got to have the ASVAB scores to qualify.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because we talk about college, we talk about NAVIT and career, but there's also another pathway, and that's our military pathway. And many of our students have that opportunity. We actually just had the USO Marine of the Year a few years ago, Justin Austin, who is from White Cone, Arizona. That he took that pathway, and that can be a great pathway. We really want to get our kids ready for college. If they're ready for college, we want them to get a certification like Dr. Hausman has talked about through our NAVIT program, and you can get through a NAVIT program and graduate with a certification. Am I correct?
In addition to certifications, both satellite programs here and NAVIT programs, I want parents and students to keep in mind that those certifications are valuable, because even with a college degree, or if you just want to go out to work, industry wants skill sets.
And that's even relevant in our profiles that we're judged on by the state of Arizona. We now have what is called a College and Career Readiness Index. And what they look for is they look for not only are you taking dual enrollment classes, but also are you taking CTE classes? Are you a well-rounded, ready, college or career-ready student? And so we have those opportunities right here at Holbrook High School, and that's what we're trying to communicate this evening, because I don't know that that word is out there enough that parents understand and students understand about those opportunities that are very robust within the Holbrook Unified School District. So thank you, Dr. Hausman. We will now move to the paying for all of this. Mr. Parker talked a little bit about funding it yourself, but what can you do to have the opportunity for somebody else to pay for a college opportunity? And Ms. Warner is going to lead us through that.
Hello and good evening. My name is Nicole Warner. I am the Senior Academic Advisor at Holbrook High School. I do help kids with scholarships, and I'm here to give you guys some tips and hints on how to prepare your student for it, because it's actually much like the savings account. It's a process that should start at the earlier grades. Very few students, there's a lot of myths and versus reality that surround scholarships, and very few students qualify for completely what is called a free ride. Of all of our students enrolled at a four-year college in the United States, you guys can see the statistics. But the one that stands out the most is 14.3% get enough grants to cover 50% or more of the COA, which is the cost of attendance. As you guys can see some of those, it's almost scary. A lot of kids, they see this stuff, they don't want to apply. I'm going to get into that more as well. Of students winning scholarships, more than 2/3, 69.1%, received less than $25,000. More students at four-year colleges win scholarships. And a lot of the scholarships are designed for the universities because their costs are a lot higher than our community colleges.
So I'm going to intervene real quick and ask a question. When you say win scholarships, what does that win mean? What is the process for winning a scholarship?
I'm going to get into that.
Okay.
There's some myths. Only straight A students win the scholarships. Grades are really, really important with scholarships. I'm not going to lie. The reality is students with better grades are more likely to win scholarships, but students with B's and C's do win some. Slightly more than 54% of scholarships are won by students with grades in the A- to A range, a 3.5 to 4.0 grade point average, GPA on a 4.0 scale. Almost a third, 30% of our scholarships are won by students with a B average. And then you guys can see as it goes down, And there are actually scholarships that are designed for lower level students as well. We do have some that are, the D+ students can apply for, but I only know of one. So test scores is another process with this award system. Students with above average SAT and ACT test scores are twice as likely to win scholarships as students with below average scores. 2/3 of private scholarships are won by students with above average SAT and ACT scores. Private schools are the ones we actually they are more expensive. That is something to take into consideration with your overall cost of attendance. I did post the breakdown of our ACT at Holbrook High School. A lot of our students take the ACT in the state of Arizona. That is the one that is accepted by our major universities as well. That test score is everything. And I'm going to get into the details of how we do the ACT here for parents in a moment. Juniors, we administer the test to the junior class yearly. It's a statewide test administration. A lot of times I'll get parents of seniors, oh, can I test with the junior class? No, you can't, because the state of Arizona has funded that. And only our junior class has access to that. And juniors should really take advantage of this free test. I cannot explain this enough. I've had students that are seniors, they're like, I'm ready to go to ASU, Miss Warner, let me see that ACT score. And I have to have the talk with them of why is it only a 13, and ASU is probably not going to happen. And 9 times out of the 10, the student says, well, as a junior, I just wanted to get out of class. No, that's not the purpose of taking the ACT. You really have to try your best on that one, because it is your one free chance. You actually get 2 more as a senior as well. With the ACT test, though, it's a very intense, it's a time test. It's a difficult, rigorous exam. A lot of our students get the test anxiety and they just don't do well the first time. And that's actually, I've done some training with ACT. That's historically true for pretty much every student. So you guys want to do your best and the best you can on it. As a senior, you get 2 test waivers. This will waive your fee to the ACT. This test waiver also includes a free study guide, but more importantly, an online test preparation course. I can't stress this enough. I show the students this on the ACT fee waiver. Please sign up for it. The students that follow my directions, they do better on the ACT. The ones that don't, it just doesn't happen, and they get disappointed when the scores get mailed in and we're going over those. Once you sign up to take the test, so again, with scholarships, being organized is everything. You want to organize when you're going to take that ACT. If you're looking to get into a major university, ASU, NAU, Stanford, you really need to do well on the ACT, and you're probably going to have to take the SAT as well. However, that organization, knowing I'm going to take the test in January, I'm going to see Ms. Warner and sign up for that test date in November, that student is going to have 2 extra months on that online prep and with that test study guide versus the student who, hey, I think my buddy's going to go take the ACT, I'll just go with him. And it's not as organized, and they're probably not going to perform as well on the test. And that is important when you're taking into consideration scholarships and your overall cost of attendance. Strategies for winning scholarships. It is a numbers game. Even our most talented student, it does involve a little bit of luck. It's not just skill. To win more scholarships, you have to apply to more. And as a senior, this is something, again, I can't stress it enough, you have to start. And those of you that are juniors, that if you're out there, start with me next year in August. You want to start the process now. I have the students that have started in August have more words versus the students that are starting just now. It takes time to prep for these things. Every application is very time consuming. You have to be organized. A lot of times students will want staff to write letters. You should have an educational resume or just something that your teachers can use as a cheat sheet. A lot of times students want a counselor letter. As the senior advisor, I don't have all of the students in class anymore, so it's really hard to talk about their character. If a student gives me a resume or even a short list of the things they've accomplished in their 4 years here at Holbrook High School, I have something to go on. And it's pretty much the same way for all of our staff. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And again, if you guys don't know how to do these things, please come see me, because I can help. You can't win if you don't apply. 1 in 4 students never applies for financial aid. And the reality is, after your first 6 applications, it gets a lot easier. Students realize that they can recycle their essays. You can cut and paste. You can tailor it to each new application. And again, you guys, organization is the key. You want to get a calendar. You want to make sure you're writing the dates down, because you do not want to miss deadlines. Go back one, please. Searching for scholarships. You want to start the search as soon as possible. We do have tools, and it's 2021, and I'm going to show you guys some of the modern tools that I just find absolutely amazing. If you wait till spring to start searching, you'll miss half the deadlines. And it does happen, and I know that this year, with everything going on with COVID, the scholarships have been tricky for our seniors and getting in touch with the online learners. And again, you guys, email me, come see me. I can help with that if you're out there still wondering how to do these things. There are scholarships available to students in the lower grades, not just high school seniors. You can use these things to take summer classes at NPC, et cetera, et cetera. There are even scholarships for students in grade K through 8, and to our current college students. We have several resources on the Holbrook website. Next slide, please. If you go to our high school's website, if you click on the scholarship information, we have these resources right here: student scholarship, scholarship hunt, FastWeb. Those are all scholarship search engines. If you sign up for FastWeb, it will look for scholarships for you while you are sitting in class at Holbrook High School. And you'll get a notification on your phone, and with all due respect to your students, it'll actually be something good that's notifying you in class on your phone. We do have resources for the FAFSA. The FAFSA is a free application for federal student aid. If a family makes under $40,000 a year, a student is probably going to qualify for grant money. Grant money is money that doesn't have to be paid back. However, these grants get used up quickly. They are first come, first served basis. Students, the FAFSA opens up October 2nd, and those of you that are juniors, I will be bothering you about this next year in October. Well, this year in October. You really want to start your FAFSA process as soon as possible. The FAFSA can be a long, grueling process. You will need your parents' tax information, W-2s, and tax returns. Again, I can help with this. I have had parents' information. I've helped students with this process as well, and parents. So if you guys are struggling out there on your own with the FAFSA, please let me know. It is a grueling process. So we do have these resources. Dr. Corporate, can you scroll down like the entire webpage? I also have a long list of scholarships here and their information. We receive several awards. All of these have been vetted, meaning, it's not a scam. Watch out for anything that tells you guys that, hey, we promised you a scholarship. Please pay us and give us your social security number and we guarantee a scholarship. Those are probably not good things. Please come see me if you're a student, you're not sure if something's a little sketchy or not. But we do have a long list of scholarships. I do every year send out more via email. I do go into the English classes, government classes, and talk to seniors about these things as well. Last year I did that more than this year because of COVID.
I think I exited out. But I think that was the end of our at the end of our slides. And so, thank you, Ms. Warren, for that information, because we've talked about funding college through your own financial means. We've also just talked about opportunities to take care of a lot of costs associated with college while the opportunity is here in high school, as well as the opportunity to get certifications and not even have to pay for college because you basically have a certification come out of high school. And then we got the scholarships. But let's talk a little bit more about the financial aid part of that. So to get into a university, does everybody have to fill out the FAFSA?
No, you don't have to. It's highly recommended.
I know I had to fill it out for my all three of my children to be able, because they want to know if they qualify for some level of financial aid. So that FAFSA application is going to be a very important aspect of qualifications to get into college. And I don't know if every university requires it, but I think that there is a threshold that you have to cross.
Most do. Most actually do.
It is part of our college index.
And
So
and
the
it
more
is
that do
part,
it,
the
the
more
better
that
it
do the FAFSA, it does make us look good. And it is actually a good thing because a lot of students qualify. And also what happens is as you go to college, especially if you have a student that plans on going on to get an advanced degree, at the age of 24, your student will become what is known as an independent student. You really want your dependent student, which is the age of 18 to 24, to get that practice with the FAFSA, because if you have a 24-year-old that's off working on a master's degree, you do want them to be able to know the process.
And in addition to that, if you've missed the opportunity for a 529, you've missed the opportunity for dual enrollment classes, or you didn't take NAVIT classes, or you didn't get scholarships, then what do we do? There are federal subsidized and unsubsidized loans that you can also qualify for. Probably the last resort that you want to do, because you don't want to fund your own college if you don't have to. You want to either save that throughout the process, because you do not want to accumulate a large amount of debt early on in your life. You want to try to get as much of your college experience free or paid for up front by savings, because it will take years and years and years. That is probably right now one of the big crises in America, is the amount of debt that students owe and cannot pay back because they owe too much. And Mr. Parker talked about all of the costs associated with college, and they really can walk out of college with $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 worth of debt and go out and maybe only qualify for a $40,000 job. That takes you many, many, many years to pay off. So we want to make sure we're educating our parents and our students that there are opportunities to pay for college. There's scholarships, there's 529 plans, there's capitalizing during your high school dual enrollment classes, AP classes, and concurrent enrollment classes, CTE programs. Those are all opportunities that if you seize the moment, you will not find yourself incurring that debt later on. And let's talk a little bit about scholarships. So some of our students have won the Milk Scholarship. And can you tell them what the Milk Scholarship is through the Dairy Council?
Oh, that's when where a student, I actually had a student win that in my classroom a couple years ago. You do a video about the milk, and it's really cute.
So yeah, they do milk mustaches.
They do milk mustaches. They do really creative things. One student a couple years ago did vote for milk. And you do a quick video. There are fun awards. There's the Get Stuck at Prom. Duct Tape does an award for a tuxedo made out of duct tape and prom dresses. And you would actually be, if you go to the I think it's Stuck at Prom, it's called. If you actually go to their website, these are beautiful, gorgeous. It looks like a designer dress that these kids come up with. That's one that I'm hoping to pass out next year and see if the kids will get into that.
We have 15 that have applied for the milk.
Yeah. So
Scholarship
so
this
it's
year.
not that you have to be super academic. You just have to be college bound, and you have to want to apply for these scholarships. As Ms. Warner said, just apply, apply, apply. And once you apply a few times, you just start replicating that process. We just recently have the Budenholzer scholarship. So we have a student athlete, Mike Budenholzer scholarship. We also have a civic scholarship, and both of those are for male and female. So they qualify to different categories, and they're all worth $1,000 each. And $1,000 paying for books or paying for tuition, covering costs associated with schools is extremely important. So parents, the opportunities are out there. I have a niece that actually earned $150,000 for her undergraduate work because she applied for scholarship. She even applied for a scholarship in which an investor in Missouri gave everyone that won the scholarships $10,000 to invest in the stock market, and he helped educate them how to invest in the stock market. She invested in Tesla, which now anything that they earned on that $10,000 could be used for college, and now she gets to keep all of those stocks forever and ever and ever. Those are the things that are out there that parents and our school system need to be able to connect to make sure that our students are academically prepared for those kind of things, as well as a lot of it comes down to the will, a hard work, just applying for it, being in the game, because you're balancing all of that with going to school. But it's education, it's things like these ed talks that we want to bring to light, that these are opportunities that our parents and our students can capitalize on here at Holbrook High School. I see no questions. I hope that means that we answered all of them, but we are here to answer questions on a daily basis. And since there are no questions at this point, any closing thoughts or any final words from our panelists? Dr. Hausman?
Parents are still listening, and we talk about scholarships. I touched briefly on the GI Bill with the military. Do you mind if I just go into a little bit more? We have recruiters come to campus, and I know I talk to students all year long who are interested in the military, and I understand not everybody's interested in the military. I have two of my own boys who one in the Air Force in aviation, one in the Army in aviation, and I want to tell you the one in the Air Force who will be retiring in about 4 years has approximately $92,000 in GI Bill if he chooses to go to college. My other son in the Army aviation has been in the Army for 2 years now. He has approximately $86,000 in GI Bill money to pay for college and housing and expenses if he chooses to go to college when he completes his Army time. I have kids who are interested in the military. They talk to me all year long. The key points are, and I tell kids, you've got to have an ASVAB score. You can't just not care. The ASVAB is a key indicator to the military about getting in and getting the scholarships. It's also important. Dr. McKinnon,
I was just going to say that the ASVAB is scheduled to be given, I think, the first or second week in May.
another opportunity, if a student does not want to go full-time military, I talk to the National Guard recruiter every couple of weeks. He comes on this campus. Probably one of the best deals going for a student in college in the state of Arizona is to join the National Guard and do the one drill weekend each month and 2 active duty weeks each year. They pay probably the best because they also, in the National Guard, if you're in college, they also pay for a significant amount of your tuition while you're doing the National Guard. And the National Guard recruiter, if you're interested, I can reach out to him if a student is listening to me, because there are some just golden opportunities to help pay for college.
Thank you, Dr. Hausman. And that is not something that we really planned for this discussion, but it's spot on. I'm glad that that was brought to light, because the armed services, the military, is another avenue that many of our students can go and learn new opportunities and new skill sets, and nothing but good usually comes out of that type of service. And the GI Bill is a wonderful opportunity for our kids to do that service and then eventually go on to a career. So I think we're going to wrap things up here. I want to thank our panelists, Mr. Parker and Dr. Hausman and Ms. Warner and Dr. McKinnon for sharing their knowledge and their wisdom about college and career readiness. I hope that from this Ed Talk that you can walk away with a better understanding of all of the services that the Holbrook High School offers to help our kids to be college and career ready. And parents, please reach out to us. Please get involved. Please have conversations with your children about college and career readiness early on, college savings, college cost, and college opportunities right here at Holbrook High School. With that said, I want to, as always, thank you for being Roadrunners, and thank you for tuning in this evening.